Hi, welcome to Recruit Live. So I'm just going to take you through some of the basics of the system just to get you started. So we'll be working from left to right, starting with client. So within Recruit Live, every module has its own separate area. So you've got your client module for your clients. You've got your contact module, which are the contacts, so the managers that you deal with within the clients. You've got your candidates. You've got your jobs. You've got your placements, so you can search placements that have been made. You've got your personal, so you can make adjustments to your system and the color themes, etc., which I'll show you. You've got HR. If you're an administrator, you'll have admin rights as well to be able to make some changes there. And if you're a manager, you'll have reports. So starting with client, basically, if you want to add a new client, you click on Add Client here. And then the pink fields means that it's mandatory to fill in. So if we look for the Commonwealth Bank, now I'm going to put a star next to that, and what the star will do is that will search anything that follows on from bank. So it will search Commonwealth Banking, Commonwealth Banker, Commonwealth Bankers Trust, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, etc. So just to make sure if there's any similar names that we can make sure you avoid duplications. Now usually to get the telephone number from the website, to try and track down the main switchboard number if you can. And the industry that they are in is BNF, which is banking and finance. And then what we'll do is we'll click search and save here on the right, and that will search the system to see if that client or a client with a similar name already exists. So we've done that, and as you can see, there are a number of clients that have similar names. There's lots of Commonwealth clients on here. And we can see that there is a Commonwealth Bank of Australia. So we won't need to create a new client for that. So if that client wasn't on there, then you would then click the Create New. Now I'll just show you on the demo version how you can add that client if they went in. So again, you hit plus client, you type in the client name. So Commonwealth Bank of Australia. You then put the main phone number in. We don't need to put the industry on the demo version because that's not highlighted and those industries are probably not in there. And then it will search and save the system. So it's just searched. That client doesn't already exist, so there it's taking you straight into a new client screen. So then you need to fill in all the fields that are on here. So you can fill in the industry that they're within. You need to put the ABN number in. You need to put the client type in if you've got that. Now, the reason the ABN is important is because when you actually come to make a placement, it will actually pull the information from the client screen. It will also pull the information from the contact of who you've made the placement with. It will also pull the information from the candidate that you've also placed. So all the addresses, ABNs, etc. will be pulled into one area, which is into the placement, where you'll then be completing the sales form with most of the information populated for you. Now, so you'll notice here that you cannot input the industry sectors here in the grey, and you cannot input the core skills here as well. Now, the reason for that is because the industry sectors and core skills per each contact within the client, so each manager. So someone like the Commonwealth Bank would obviously have various different areas, and they would cover different industries like banking and finance. They would cover insurance, superannuation, investments, etc. So each manager will be with their own sector within that client. You can, however, change the main industry at the top here, which is in white, for the actual main client, so what industry that they are in, and the Commonwealth Bank are within the banking and finance industry. The tags here just allows you to put any notes that you want in, any tags at all. So there's no function there, so if you just want to put your initials in, or if you wanted to put a little note in, you can. Once you get into the client, you need to put in the contact details. So the address and telephone number, you need to put in the website address, the main address, if there's a postal address, if the billing address is different, and then just confirm the physical address along with the main address. and there'll be a fax number, and if there is a generic company email, you can put that in as well. To put notes against the client, you can select a category of what it is. So it might be you made a marketing call just into that client, and then you put the notes into here, and then once you've selected a category, so for example, wants to work at 17% package, and you then just click save within the edit part here to save the record, or you can click here. So if we click here, it has saved it, or you can click here and just save the note at the bottom here. So it's just telling me there's an error because the region's not been filled in. So again, that's mandatory to fill in, and these are things that you'll find when you're doing it. So that will select repopulate New South Wales, Australia in, and then just hit save at the top here, and that's now been successfully saved. So if you were updating both the notes and the fields at the top, so anything below here, you just hit save here to save the notes. If you were filling in information up here, so say if you were saying I don't know, the ABN is, for example, and then you put a note in here, follow up next week, you can just save up here, and it will save both the top and the bottom for you. So if you're doing it twice, if all this information is already filled out, it's a client that you've been regularly in contact with, you just work on the bottom here. You've also got the quick task event, so you can actually choose a meeting, or you can choose a callback, etc. You can select a time and date that you want to do that. So you can just pull it on here and select maybe today, tomorrow, etc. And that is, hit done. And then you can save that, and that will sync with your calendar in Outlook. So I recommend that you test that first, maybe do it for a few minutes ahead, and then just test that works, and if not, just contact the IT department to just make sure that's synced up to Outlook. If you wanted to make a callback for someone else, so if there was a business development manager or a senior manager, because it's a PSA, etc., you can actually assign it to someone else. And I'll show you more of that later on, but you can just type in the name of the person that you want to assign it to, and then just click save. So I'll show you that in the live system. So that's how you add a client. The other thing you can do is actually create a client list. So you can create a list two ways. You can create it up here by clicking plus list. So say for example, I wanted to call the list banking clients, New South Wales. The list at the moment is empty, and then you just click save. So that list has now been created successfully. If I go into here to Commonwealth Bank and I want to add that client to that list, you'll see here there is a merge to. So I can select the list I want to add it to. So if I say banking clients New South Wales, I can then just hit the button merge, and that client has now been merged in there. So if I want to view that list, you've got list here, view, you've got an action here to drop down, banking clients New South Wales, it will automatically load that list, and there's that client. Another way that you can create a list is if you wanted to, so that's if you've already got an existing list that you've created and you just want to add clients to it as you go, or you want to just start off with a new list from scratch. If you are in a record and you want to create a list from the record, you can also do it from here. So you can click on the merge to area again, you just click new, and it will actually take the selected record here. So this Commonwealth Bank will actually go in there. Let's just put BNF clients and then click save, and it will take that in, and that's created that list as well from that client. So you can then, as you go through different clients, you can just select the list that you want to add them to, and then just go merge and add them on. Now, as mentioned before, you can see this one has obviously a number of different industry sectors because each of those managers has a different area, and each of those managers also recruits a different skill. You'll also see here it's got parent client. So if there was other clients like Bank West and Colonial First State that you were looking up, you might want to make the Commonwealth Bank in those the parent client that they belong to, so that they're all linked to the main client. So the other things that you can do within here, you've got your notes within a client as well. So these are all the notes that have been made against the actual client record. So these would be things like, what terms have been agreed, what the PSA status is, etc., etc. The contact list will actually show you all of the contacts within the list, so all of the managers. So you can actually scroll down and go through them one by one. One way of doing it. You can also search and save contacts straight into the client here. So if you wanted to search a manager's name, you can, and if you wanted to add it from there, that you can, and you just need to select the source of where you got that person from, whether it was LinkedIn, if it was direct, etc. So you also have a job list under the client as well, so that shows you all of the jobs that are currently that have ever been under that client. So you can see there's 2,409 jobs that have been under that client, so high activity with that one. And you can scroll through and look at any of those at any time. You've got your address and telephone, which we've already covered. Here you've got your company information, so you've got information here about what type of company they are, what the invoice details are, what the payment terms are, sponsorship, are they payroll tax exempt? So a lot of companies in Canberra, can be payroll tax exempt for contracting. You've got your PSL status here, so here is where you can put your contact in, where the review date is, what the fee structure is, etc. This is the diary, which is in Recruit Live. And then your others is just who the account manager is. So you can select who is for this account, whether it's an internal or external client. So this is actually an external client that they deal with, and the status of active or inactive as well. So most clients will be active, and if the client sort of went bust or doesn't, is no longer on the database or no longer in the country, you can then make them inactive as well. And here is where the owner branch is that actually added the client in the first place. So that puts that on there. Okay. Up here you can see you've got contact details. Straight in, if you just want to get back to there quickly. You can view the client visit documents. So if there's client visits been uploaded, you can see here. You can download a client visit. You can upload a client visit to the actual client record, and you can view client visit documentation as well. And then the little hourglass here just allows you to look at the placement history within that client. You can see all the placements within there. The searching, there's two types of searching for clients. You've got basic search. So here you can put in the reference number if you know it. So you've got Commonwealth Bank Australia, and then search. Or if you want to do a more advanced search, and the advanced search basically searches every field. It searches any notes, it searches any users that have put notes against it, it searches skills that the client recruits for from what the contacts hire. So for example, if you wanted to look up J2EE and you wanted banking and finance clients, and you wanted those clients to be in New South Wales, and then you search that, it will bring up 61 clients, of which I'm pretty sure the Commonwealth Bank will be in there under C, and that's in alphabetical order. And you can change those as well with the filters up the top in terms of if you want to do last updated, etc. So if we just go back to that search, we can hit criteria, see what our criteria was. And that's where you can see we put in BNF, etc. You can do a Boolean search within the document, so the client visits that have been uploaded, or the terms, or the contracts in place with the client. You can search, date fields up when it was last updated, etc. And if you want to search notes, I'll show you that on the contact screens, but you can search notes as well. You can look up a user. You can select a date range. You can select a category of what they might have spoken about in that client, etc. So that's the advanced. You've got your list view, which we've already looked at. Now within the list as well, so if I load a list here, so if I say J2E clients and load that list, you can also search within a list. So you can click this box here and you can search within that list. So you can use free text to look at the documents. Now this is really handy for mainly with candidates is the main area where this is really good. But you can also look at other areas. So you might want to look at the core skills that refine that down even further. And notes as well. So the content might be within that. I want to look at someone who mentioned, so you'd put a star, you'd put what you want to search, so let's say PSA, and then put star. So in that list of 40, I've searched the word PSA, and that's brought that down to 2. So there's 2 companies where someone's put a note on there that it's PSA, or something about PSA, to narrow that down. Now within the list, you can also manage your list from here as well. So you can do this separately. You can look at the family notes within that client, which I'll show you as well in a moment. Or you can select all the lists and you can manage. So you could decide, let's load a list up. New South Wales. So here you can share the list with someone else if you want. You can go in, you can share it with just one user and put their name in. You could share it with your whole branch, or you could even set up a user group within here as well. And then you can adjust the sharing permissions as well. If you wanted to remove the list, you can just remove it up here. So you've ticked the list you want to remove, and you can remove it. If you subscribe to Search Agent, that means that the free text search that you used for that list, basically any clients that are added with that criteria, so that used to search that list, you'll get a notification that they've been added to Recruit Live via email. You can just regenerate the list, and you can look at the criteria of what the search criteria of the list was originally. So if we load up another list on here, J2E clients, so again you can do them individually. Or you can click them all and delete them from here. So if we go back to, now another thing I'll show you as well is if you hit the clock here, it will show you all your recent activities, just to save me keep searching obviously the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, as that's the demo version that I'm using for this purpose. You can just click straight there, and within the client as well, you can see that you've got family notes here. So if you click on family notes, this will basically show you all of the notes within the client. So anything, anyone who's spoken to them most recently, any placements that have been done, etc., etc., are all in here. So you can see exactly what activity has been done by consultants in there. The tree basically builds up a tree from the contacts within the client. So at the moment this is a flat structure pretty much, because nobody's got anyone reporting to anyone. But if you put who the person reports to, it will start to build up an organisational chart, so a tree within the company. That's pretty much it for clients. Contacts, very much the same. So these are the people that work within, say, the Commonwealth Bank, for example. To add a new contact, you've got plus contact. To create a list from scratch, you've got plus list. You can also create the list from the contact. You've got a basic search, So if you wanted to do a basic search, you can do that. If you wanted to do an advanced search, again, you can search any criteria. You can search any user, so you can put in their first name. And that's also, if you're not too sure, you might just say JO star, because it might be JON, it might be JOHN. So it's just sometimes if you're not too sure of the spelling, you can use the star. And then we might say they work for Salmat. And here you could put in any skills, search, etc. So if you go back to criteria, you might just want to not search any names. You might be doing a certain vertical market. You can type in that skill within that vertical that you specialize. You can type the location. You could type in a postcode, and you could say within surrounding areas. You could look at notes where people might have mentioned that to EE, for example, and then you could select certain users. It could be a category. You could select a date range, or say New South Wales. Just select that. Search. So it's just searching the system now. Now, the most important lists are usually within contact and candidate. So a contact list of all of the contacts that you'd like to do business with. So you can see there that's just generated 782 contacts within New South Wales, where the comment J2EE has been put against it, just as an example. So you might want to use that to search for certain information, or if there's something that you noted down and you can't remember who it was you spoke to about it, you can put the words in to narrow that down in terms of who it was. And again, you can search within the list to go even further. If you sort of remember the first name, what that was, but you couldn't remember the surname or first letter, anything you can use to throw in there and narrow that down. So yeah, contact lists and the candidate lists are probably the most important, because obviously that gives you direct numbers of managers that hire the skill of the people that you're looking to hire, and the candidates are obviously candidates that you obviously do business with on a regular basis.